Safety Keychains for Women, Compact Protection for Everyday Carry. Part 2. Beyond Keychains, Compact Self-Defense Options. Tasers. Tasers, I have a lot of history with this weapon. I worked with the inventor of the modern Taser, Jack Kovar, and I fondly remember his first large-scale gun. It was tested in Hawaii. Now get this, his test subject was a buffalo. Yep, those huge creatures that you usually see in Yellowstone Park. Well, the weapon was a two-stage type of gun. First, it fired the two darts to hit the buffalo, who didn't seem even to care that there were two small darts stuck to their hide. Then, pulling the trigger back to the next level was to apply the electrical charge. What happened when a 9-volt battery hit the buffalo was nothing short of astounding. It plopped down to its stomach and shook with the electrical pulse hitting it. No harm done, though. When Jack let up on the trigger, the buffalo looked around, surprised, and then just stood up. The entire day went like that, and needless to say, I was very impressed with the stopping power of these new non-lethal tools at the time. At the end of the test day, I must say no animals were harmed, as we had a veterinarian there with us to examine the buffalo, and we gave them a meal of their favorite treats. On the way out of the Hawaiian ranch, I think I heard one say, "Come back soon, we will keep the light on for you all." Well, perhaps not, but they were excited by the treats. I did develop a few of my own tasers, too, so I'm very familiar with the technology. But, for self-defense, I think they can be an excellent way to go. There are some issues that you must embrace with them, however, they are usually covered in training classes with the taser. In short, what you want is a multiple-shot taser that also can be reloaded quickly. Also, if you run out of taser dart cartridges, then by flipping off the empty or spent dart cartridges, you have a touch taser or stun gun. How they work is straightforward. A 9-volt battery electrical signal is modulated or made into a particular waveform that interferes with the body's natural neurological signal. Then, this waveform is sent through a series of voltage amplification transformers to yield a very high voltage. For civilian models, this is usually around 50,000 volts. For military or law enforcement, it can be as high as 80,000 volts or higher in some cases. When you pull the trigger, you send the modulated 9-volt battery signal into the amplifying transformers, and you also fire the darts out of the taser. These darts pull a very thin wire with them, and once you hit the target, the electricity flows from one dart to the other. The body or skin is in between the two darts, and that is what people feel. The signal and voltage flowing between the darts are what interrupt the body's standard electrical signals. Legal considerations: you must, like all self-defense weapons, check the local laws to make sure you can carry or use them. Also, if you plan to travel to other locations, you need to check their laws as well. Pros and cons of everyday carry self-defense weapons. Cons first. The first issue is keeping them charged and checking them before you put them on your body. If you find one that isn't fully charged, you leave it on the charger and start your day without your EDC or everyday carry. This is not a good thing. Some people don't respond to these weapons. It's rare, but it happens, so you must have another self-defense tool to back you up. We have spent a fair amount of time on self-defense weapons, so remember the onion approach. Your self-defense strategy must be layered, and to that end, you must carry other weapons for backup. Also, remember the distances that other self-defense weapons work in, and layer your protection accordingly. Think of a person coming at you who starts at 21 feet and runs at you. Tasers have that range covered well, but if they fail, you need a backup self-defense weapon. Also, an FYI, there are 2 ways to defeat the taser in the field. I don't want to discuss this and give the bad guys instructions on how to neutralize a taser, but it exists. Next, pepper gel keeps you covered up to 8 feet away from you unless there is heavy rain or gale force wind. Next, batons, knives, and finally, something like a Defender self-defense weapon. It's your last line of defense, and it is made to work in close quarters. Pros: the taser range is impressive, and they come in multiple shot models, too. They have a good reputation and can work to psychologically deter some attackers. They are relatively inexpensive compared to a gun, and they are usually non-lethal. As mentioned earlier, they are non-lethal, easy to use, compact, and portable. These are essential features to consider while in the field. Models offer other features, making them a very versatile option. They are generally legal to use, as well. They also have a lower risk of collateral damage compared to other self-defense weapons like guns. The Byrna gun. The Byrna gun is similar to a taser, but it's a chemical weapon and can be a kinetic weapon, too. It shoots pepper powder balls that burst on contact with the bad guy or anything hard. It is a powerful way to deploy pepper, chemical, powder on the would-be attacker. It is also non-lethal, and that is a good thing. The effective range of a Byrna gun is super impressive. It can accurately shoot out to 60 feet. That's crazy good, as your onion just got a lot larger, haha. It shoots kinetic, pepper, or inert slugs. Therefore, while the Byrna's range is a significant advantage over many other less lethal options, it's crucial to consider these factors when assessing its practical self-defense capabilities. Aiming for center mass within the 60-foot effective range is recommended for optimal results. You need to check the legal status of carrying the Byrna with your local laws, as well as wherever you plan to travel while you carry the Byrna. Choosing the right self-defense weapon. The title is a bit misleading as you need more than one self-defense weapon. Remember the layered approach, so you need to cover the distance from 21 feet to up close and personal. The critical factors across all distances are ease of use, concealability, personal comfort level, training, cost, environmental conditions, and legal restrictions. Let's talk about environmental issues because many people don't think like that. If you live in Alaska or icy places, electric self-defense things don't always work very well. In addition, if you are in the rain all the time, the same thing can be true with electrical self-defense solutions. Well, they don't work too well. The Byrna is a CO2-fired device, and it might be reduced in capability if you live in high-altitude areas. The manufacturer can help you with that, but all this is true for scorching places like the deserts of the world. Things are affected by your environment, so you must consider that when you are choosing your various self-defense weapons to cover the 21-foot standing nose-to-nose with your attacker. I don't usually do this, but here's what Claude has to say about CO2-powered weapons. Certainly. I'd be happy to share some thoughts on how altitude affects CO2 gas cylinder cartridges used in devices like Byrna guns or BB guns. This is an essential consideration for the performance of these devices. Here's an overview of how altitude affects CO2-powered devices. 1. Pressure difference. At higher altitudes, the atmospheric pressure is lower. This creates a greater pressure difference between the CO2 in the cartridge and the outside air. Initially, this might seem beneficial, as it could lead to higher muzzle velocities. 2. Temperature effects. Higher altitudes generally mean cooler temperatures. CO2 is sensitive to temperature changes. Cooler temperatures reduce the pressure inside the cartridge. This can counteract the potential benefits of the lower atmospheric pressure. 3. Gas expansion. As the CO2 is released, it expands rapidly, causing cooling, the Joule-Thomson effect, 9. At higher altitudes, this cooling effect can be more pronounced due to the lower ambient pressure. This can lead to faster cooling of the cartridge and potentially reduce performance over time. 4. Shot consistency. The combination of these factors can lead to less consistent performance. Initial shots might be more powerful, but subsequent shots could see a more rapid decline in power. 5. Cartridge lifespan. In theory, you might get slightly more shots per cartridge at higher altitudes due to the lower ambient pressure. However, this could be offset by the more rapid cooling of the cartridge. 6. Accuracy. Changes in projectile velocity can affect accuracy, especially at longer ranges. Users might need to adjust their aim to compensate for these changes. Practical considerations. For Byrna guns or similar self-defense tools, these effects are likely to be less noticeable in typical use scenarios, short range, few shots fired quickly. For target shooting or recreational use of BB guns, users might notice more significant effects, especially if shooting over longer periods or at longer ranges. It's advisable to test the device at the altitude where it will be used most frequently to understand its performance characteristics. Storing CO2 cartridges at a consistent, moderate temperature can help maintain more predictable performance. In conclusion, while altitude does affect the performance of CO2-powered devices, the practical impact for self-defense tools like Byrna guns is likely to be minimal in most scenarios. However, users should be aware of these factors, especially if they live or frequently travel to high-altitude areas. Also, I could counsel you to seriously consider what is legal to own, carry, and use where you are going to carry or deploy these weapons. If not, you might find yourself in jail with the bad guy. Conclusion: women face an array of threats, and if they are seeking effective and accessible self-defense options, this blog post covers many options for their perusal. The range of self-defense weapons was heavily considered, as was the effectiveness of each weapon. Everything from close-quarter combat weapons to the Byrna gun with an impressive 60-foot range was introduced to the reader in Part 1 and Part 2 of this blog post. You must embrace the onion or layered self-defense concept and realize it's not just one choice for your safety. We covered everything from the revolutionary Ivan keychain, the new panic buttons connected to the internet, and many other weapons as well. We've highlighted the importance of considering factors such as ease of use, environment, legality, and effectiveness when selecting the right tools for your needs. While no single weapon offers a foolproof solution, a layered self-defense strategy, coupled with situational awareness and training, can empower women to protect themselves confidently. Remember, personal safety is a priority, and these compact tools can provide an added layer of security in an unpredictable world. By staying informed, proactive, and equipped, women can take control of their safety and navigate daily life with greater peace of mind.